What's up guys, and welcome to my channel. For today's video, I am giving out my review for the latest installment in the Assassin's Creed franchise, which is Assassin's Creed Mirage. To give you a brief background of Mirage, this game was supposed to be a DLC or expansion for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. However, Ubisoft changed their mind and made this a standalone game. Mirage is set in 9th century Baghdad during the Islamic Golden Age. There was a lot of hype surrounding this game because the developers emphasized that this was a return to the series' roots by focusing on stealth, parkour, and assassinations. But before we start, make sure to subscribe to the channel to see more game reviews and Assassin's Creed videos in the future. Now let's get started. Let's first start with the location of the game, which is Baghdad. The developers did a great job in the city design as it is very immersive and focused on allowing the players to use the parkour system to traverse from one location to another. The city feels alive and congested in a good way as compared to the previous three titles of Assassin's Creed. It really brings back some Assassin's Creed Unity vibes when walking around the streets of Baghdad. Another thing that really makes the city great is that the developers really had the stealth and parkour mechanics in mind when designing the city. It brings back the old blending in the crowd mechanic or social stealth, and also gives the players a way of maximizing the parkour system when doing missions. To put it simply, it is a mixture of the old Assassin's Creed mechanics inserted into a modern day environment. The only problem that I think was a little bit dull was the environment outside of Baghdad. Outside of a few camps and oases that you can explore, there are no more activities available in the desert. But then again, it doesn't really affect your gaming experience since most of your missions are inside the main city. Moving on to the parkour system of the game, it didn't really have any changes or improvement from the previous titles. What makes the game better, even though it still uses its old parkour system, is that it was combined with a city that was designed to utilize the use of parkour when traveling to different locations. Remember, in the previous titles like Origin, Odyssey, and Valhalla, riding a mount is the best way of traversing the cities because the buildings in those games were not designed for parkour. Additionally, the movement of the protagonist in Mirage has vastly improved as compared to Valhalla. Basim feels more agile and a lot quicker as compared to Eivor. For me personally, it was a missed opportunity by Ubisoft to capitalize on the great city design, as they should have at least added more parkour animations or used the parkour system of Assassin's Creed Unity. Moving on to the gameplay of Mirage, I really appreciate the fact that Ubisoft came through with their promise that this game will have more stealth-heavy gameplay, as compared to the last three iterations of the game, which leaned more towards an RPG hack-and-slash type of gameplay. Although I enjoyed playing and completing Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, it didn't really feel like I was playing an Assassin's Creed title simply because the core gameplay, which is stealth and assassination, were merely non-existent. The main reason why the classic titles were successful was because of the use of stealth and assassinations in completing missions. However, in the last three iterations, you can simply complete your missions by fighting your way through waves of enemies back and forth without ever needing to use stealth. Now, in terms of the combat system in Mirage, they made it more simpler compared to the last title, which is Valhalla. There are no melee combat skills in your skill tree and you can use light, heavy, and parry attacks. By doing this, the game is simply encouraging players to focus more on stealth rather than melee combat. Another addition to the game which I enjoyed using the most are the tokens. You can use these tokens to hire mercenaries to attack guards, a musician to distract the guards, bribing merchants to help you get in enemy territory, or even paying a politician to clear your notoriety level. Speaking of notoriety, the notoriety level is a throwback from older Assassin's Creed titles. The more your notoriety level goes up, the harder for your character to roam the streets of Baghdad without being chased by guards or even an assassin. Even civilians will try to call guards when they see you on the streets, which makes the city feel more alive and real. Moving on to the skill tree in Mirage, it has been narrowed down to only 3 categories, namely the Phantom, the Trickster, and Predator skills. As compared to the skill tree in Valhalla, the one in Mirage is simple and short, and it made me feel like I don't really have to focus on getting skill points in order for my character to get stronger. This was the case in previous titles where there was a need to grind in order for you to unlock more on the character's skill tree. On to the equipment, Mirage also moved away from the RPG style of Valhalla, wherein you can collect a ton of equipment in the game. Unlike in Valhalla where Eivor can use different types of weapon, from hammers, spears to axe and many more, Basim can only use a sword and a dagger in Mirage. I think this is quite reasonable considering that the game has been scaled down compared to the previous titles. Although you can upgrade the weapons and armors to get better perks, I didn't feel the need to do so as I was able to finish the game without fully upgrading my equipment. Moving on to the main story, Mirage is not that good as compared to the classic titles, or in my opinion, the story in Origins. I felt like the only interesting part in the story are at the beginning and at the end. Of course, I'm not gonna throw out spoilers for players who haven't tried the game. Although the beginning and ending of the story were good and interesting, the middle part is quite boring and repetitive. There are no plots that will leave you in awe while playing the game, and I felt like they didn't give Basim an interesting backstory to be a memorable character in the AC universe. In terms of performance, I played Mirage on PS5 and I didn't have any issues at all throughout my entire playthrough. Although I'm not sure if this is the same for PC or Xbox. I was very impressed with the game, especially in crowded areas, as I have never encountered any frame drops or screen tearing at all. And as far as I know, I haven't really encountered any bugs during my entire playthrough. Although I did enjoy my playthrough in Mirage, there are things that were, in my opinion, missed opportunities for Ubisoft. One of this is the New Game Plus, which allows players to start a new game after finishing their first playthrough. This gives the game more replayability since the entire playthrough can only last for 15 to 20 hours. And again, as mentioned earlier in the video, I wish that they also tried adding more animations and made the parkour system a lot better. Because if I'm going to be honest, the parkour system in Unity, which was launched 9 years ago, is still better than what we have in Mirage. Overall, I'm impressed with what Ubisoft was able to launch on a limited team, limited budget, and limited time. Although Mirage will not be nominated for any Game of the Year awards, it still got the job done in terms of giving the fans what they want, which is a stealth game with a decent parkour system. It also gave the fans a trip back to memory lane in terms of style and mechanics in the game. It's also a good change of pace from the previous 3 open world titles, since you can finish the game at roughly 15 to 20 hours of playtime. If you want to play a good stealth game in 2023 that will not take a ton of your time to complete, then Assassin's Creed Mirage is my recommended game for you. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more game reviews, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. GG!